If you want to convert followers into customers, if you want to grow your audience with video, you have to get crystal clear on who it is you're talking to and what they want to hear from you. And most importantly, you have to get crystal clear on how you're showing up so that you come across as the real you, because you will attract the right people when you are showing up as the real you and building authority and coming across as someone who is a human being who can empathize with where they are. But you also want to make sure you're doing that so that you can stand out, so that you don't look like everybody else. And that is what today's episode is all about. If you're brand new to this show, this is Virginia Kerr, where you come to find out how you can use video to convert followers into customers. And today we're going behind the scenes of This is Video School. That is my video course that helps you get clarity on who you're talking to, what you should be talking about, how to sell without selling, and how to show up as the real you so that you do stand out. What you're going to be listening to today is the training that we did this week in our live Q&A inside This is Video School. We do a mini training. We give feedback and critiques on video. This portion, though, is all about more helpful hints on how to really identify your dream person, not just your ideal person, because when you're working with the right people, you will feel a whole new level of energy and joy. And we want to make sure we know who those people are so that we can attract them with our video. Then we're diving into the specifics on how you can stand out by making your videos look different and speaking your truth. I wanted to talk about how to show up as the real you and become more memorable and stand out. I know we talk about this in the modules. I know we talk about who our ideal person is. And oftentimes, by the way, if you're stuck in that module or if you still need clarity in that, a lot of times it's us. It's who we were before our transformation that is allowing us to do what we do now. It's we sell a transformation, whether we're using a product or a service or both. We're selling a transformation, and we want our ideal person to know that we get it. We get where they've been. So oftentimes when you go to fill out that form that you see in modules 1 and 2, you might get stuck on some of the questions. And if you do, when it comes to your ideal person, then go back to the person you were before you figured out what you figured out, and then answer those questions as if it's you before the transformation. So what were your struggles? What were your frustrations? What were your insecurities? What were your goals? That's really going to help you open up your eyes to that. The other thing is, and if you've had a one-on-one with me, chances are I've said this to you. Can you think of somebody in your life, whether you have worked with them or not, who would be your ideal person? And I don't just mean your ideal person, I mean your dream client. We want you working with the people that you get excited about before you get on the call, the people that give you energy. And you have to work with all kinds of people before you really figure out who those people are. You're going to have people that you work with that they're not your people. And that's okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. It just means they're not a good fit. But that also allows you to see who is your good fit. So who were the people you've worked with, or who are the people you've met in your life that really just you respect, and they just, like I said, light you up. That's another indicator of who your ideal person is. But we also want to make sure we're showing up as us. And I know you've heard me talk about the isms and your stories and your personality and your quirks. And sometimes you want to kind of take the quirky you that maybe you're not so used to sharing on camera and show a little bit of him or her. But what you also want to do is make sure, and this comes with time. This is not going to be something that, like, when you start your videos, all of a sudden you're going to know your style. But be thinking about and paying attention to the types of videos that seem to really get a lot of attention. And I mean good attention. Like, they get the saves, they get the shares, they get the comments, they get the DMs, and really start to dissect those pieces of content and ask yourself, why are those people responding? What is it that I did differently in that post? Am I sharing it with a story? Am I giving a certain type of information? Were my edits a little bit tighter? And then as you start to create these videos, and Diane, this is a good example when you talked about being at your place. When I was putting Abby's montage, if you haven't seen it, I'd love for y'all to go look at the post I put together. That's something I like to do, is I like to put, like, I think of it as the greatest hits of people's reels and their stories and their IGTVs. And when I was going through Abby's video, what I noticed was there were a lot of salon shots, and that's a good thing because she's a hairstylist and she's a salon owner and she's an educator. She educates hairstylists. We want people to recognize our look, and I don't mean just the way we look, but that is part of it. But I'm talking about, I'm in my laundry office, and I talk about it all the time. My laundry office is part of my brand, and it's on purpose. I mean, it's because this is it. This is where I shoot all my videos. But I also want my ideal person to know you don't have to have the perfect house and the perfect backdrop and the perfect room and the perfect lighting. I live in it's a freaking basement. I want people to know that, oh, that's the girl at the laundry office. That's the girl that she shoots her videos next to her washer and dryer every day. It's my brand. I'm not trying to be anything that I'm not, but it's more recognizable and memorable if I'm always sending that message. And I don't always show my washer and dryer behind me, but I constantly talk about the laundry office. So think about what your location is. Janice does a really good job of that. Janice always has her set, I call it her set, in her dining room, of where she sets up her clothing racks where she does her quick changes. It's extremely recognizable. As soon as I see that shot, I know I'm looking at Janice. I don't have to see her face. I know I'm looking at Janice because that's where she always shoots her videos. It doesn't mean you're not ever going to leave that area. I don't mean that. When it's warm outside, I'll go out into the cornfields. That was another thing, is like, I'm owning where I am. This is me. I live in the corn. But it's more memorable than if I was always trying to look like something I wasn't, or trying to have like a complete blank backdrop that just is very sterile. You need to be thinking about, are my videos recognizable? Not just with your backdrop, but maybe it is your style of editing. I have a very distinct style of editing with my reels. I always do my title, my hook, whatever part of the series it is, and I always do a zoom and a swipe, and I use the same sound effects every time. And then I just do my quick cuts. I do that on purpose because it makes me stand out. You have to be the originator of your style. You just want to make sure that you're not copying people, first of all. And I don't mean just because it's wrong, but I mean, because, and y'all have heard me tell the story, I've been the copier. It was because I wasn't secure enough to go all in on who I was and figure out my own style. And when we're too busy copying and comparing ourselves, it's okay to get a little bit of inspiration. But I got to the point where I have to this day, shut it down. I don't hang out on Reels. I don't look at my Reels page. I very rarely go on TikTok now and stare at everybody's stuff that's in my niche. If I go to my original TikTok account, I can do that because I'm not going to see people who are in my industry. But I know that if I look too much at people who do what I do, I'll borrow their ideas a little too much. And it's not so much that I'm afraid they're going to notice. It's more so that it stunts your growth. Your creativity is turned off when you're always looking at other people and when you're always comparing yourself. As soon as you turn that off, as soon as you put your blinders on, mute people or unfollow people if you have to, and you force yourself to go all in on you, you forget their stuff and you really start to figure out your own voice. And it's why you'll hear me talk about the training wheels of Reels and TikTok. You got to take off the training wheels, which is pointing to the text bubbles, using music, using lip dubs, because again, that's literally not your voice, but it's stunting your growth. You can't find your unique brand and look and style, whether it's editing, your voice, if you use music. I mean, I know that I get a little bit goofy and I do, dances in my stories. And I haven't done that in a very long time because for a while I was like, oh, I don't want to be too goofy. I might turn people off. And then I started to realize, oh wait, this is part of my process. Like I really do that before I get on video or if I do a training, and if I'm not in the right mindset or if I just don't feel loose, it is what I do. So why would I not share that? Because that's what I do. I share all about my process. So that applies to you, whatever your industry is. And it takes time. I've been doing video a very long time, but I've only been doing video coaching for just over a year. So it's forced me to have to go all the way back. Again, talking about that transformation, I had to go all the way back to my very first live shot, or all the way back when I first interviewed somebody in Missoula, Montana, and I literally interviewed them for over an hour. That was painful, and for him and me. But because I have to remember what it's like when you don't have your brain trained to hear the right sound bites or to see the right shots. It's a process to start to develop that mind's eye like a journalist, which is what you all are doing. When you hear me talk about documenting and how you go throughout your day and you look to see, what am I doing today? Who am I talking to today? What am I sharing today? All these are pieces of content that you can use in your stories. And when you do that enough, you'll automatically just start to see it. I can already see a lot of you are doing that. All you have to do is plan ahead enough to know what you're doing tomorrow, who you're talking to, and then think about the different types we talk about for your stories: the recommendations, the teachable moment, the behind the scenes, the face to camera. And then you ask yourself, what can I do to use what I'm already doing tomorrow to insert them into those different types of Instagram stories content? And that's same process. The more people get to see you behind the scenes, you're branding yourself. They start to recognize, oh, Abby's in the chair again. Oh, Abby's got her mannequin with her paint again. They start to recognize those images and they know who they're seeing. Whereas if you go to Reels and you see the same people pointing at the text bubbles, using the trendy music, they're probably using the same freaking tips because they're all copying each other. And in my Reels, it's a bunch of Instagram coaches. I'm bored because I'm like, nobody's standing out. I don't want to, I mean, they don't interest me enough to get me curious to want to go back to their account to see what else they have to offer, because they look like everybody else. And that's what we don't want. We want to use Reels. I was talking to Maria today about this because we were talking about how to take a piece of big content and water it down into a reel. And she gets frustrated because she really wants to go all in on color. She's an interior designer, on color and stuff that's a little bit too complicated for a reel because you got 30 seconds max in a reel. But what I was telling her was, your reels are your bait. You're going out there and you're fishing and you're looking for people who are looking for you, but you can't get too complicated with them, because if you get too much information in a reel or you get too complicated with your topic, it's confusing and you won't keep them. But if you can grab them with, stop doing these 3 things when you decorate your bedroom, or don't put this on your Christmas or on your mantle this Christmas. Now you grab their attention, and she's like, but that doesn't really light her up because that's so basic to her. But I'm like, yeah, but see, now you've got the person curious enough to see, what else am I doing wrong? Or what else can I learn from her? And that bait lures them back to your account, and then they can start to binge on your other reels, on your other IGTVs. But if you use bait, yes, I said to keep it basic and watered down, but you don't want it to look like everybody else. If you use bait that tastes like everybody else, nobody's going to bite. They're going to feel like, it's just another person doing that thing, or saying that thing, or pointing to that thing. So that's why you want to really start to be mindful of, how can I be just, what's the word? Consistent enough with my look, whether that's the way it's kind of all of it, but whether that's your editing style, your location, what you talk about in stories. Just really be mindful of that. This is a process. This is not going to come to you overnight. You've been listening to a live training inside my video course, This is Video School. And as you heard me just say, this is a process. It will not come to you overnight. However, the more clarity you have, the faster this process will go for you. And the way to get clarity is to take action. That's what all of these students in This is Video School, that's what they're all doing. They are action takers. They're pushing through the fear and they're jumping on this monster some of us think of video as, and they're figuring it out. They're getting all of the tutorials so that they know exactly how they can edit, repurpose video, which apps are going to be the most effective for them, because we're all different. I walk you through all the different versions of how you can edit and repurpose. But what is so key is that it's really helping them pinpoint who they want to work with, how they can get out there and use the right kind of content so that they attract the right people. They are working with those people and they're getting them results. And in order for you to do that, you have to start doing the video. You can't think about it. You can't constantly just do the same kind of video. If you're not always testing and trying new things and really diving into what you are all about, what makes you you, you are not going to stand out. And we know right now on social media, it's a crowded place to be. So if we sound and look like everybody else, no one's going to notice us. And you heard me talking a lot about the style of your editing, the style of where you're shooting your videos. But this also has to do with how you dress. Not that there's a right or a wrong way, but stick to a way so that people see that, oh, she looks like this. She does it this way. He does it that way. She or he, that's my person right there. And don't be afraid to share your stories and your truth and your beliefs and your weaknesses and your strengths and your lessons. All of that stuff makes up who you are so that you are more memorable and you stand out and you are seen by the right people, meaning your people, the people who are going to get you, the people who are going to be a good fit for you, the people who are going to not only benefit from your stories and the way that you do what you do, but you're also going to benefit because you're going to feel like you are with the people you're supposed to be with. You're going to feel happy and excited to work with the people who are coming your way versus dreading them because they are draining your energy. If you want to know more about this stuff and you want to work with me, then jump on the link in my bio on Instagram. This is Virginia Kerr, or you can go to my website, thisisvirginiakerr.com. Click on the link for This is Video School. You can read all about what you'll get. You have lifetime access. It is a digital course, so you get to go through the modules at your pace, but then we have these live Q&A sessions. You also have the option to add on one-on-one coaching. It's fun. And what people are seeing in there is a huge increase in their engagement. They're seeing new followers every day on their platforms. It's not just about Instagram, it's any platform that you're on. And they're seeing more sales with the right kind of people. That's what we want for you. We want you to create the life that you want with the business that you want, with the people you want to work with, and do it with video. It doesn't have to be scary, and it's not scary when you don't do it alone and you have a strategy that is proven to work. Until next time, take inventory and take care.